All right, welcome back to section 26 of the Security Plus preparation course. Today, we're going to be talking about automation and orchestration and what it means in cybersecurity and what it will mean for when you take the exam of CYS 0701. Now, let's start with some definitions. Automation itself refers to the process of using tools or scripts to perform specific tasks or workflows with little to no human intervention. It's all about replacing the repetitive, the manual processes with automated ones, such as scanning for vulnerabilities, applying patches, or even updating user permissions. For example, instead of manually resetting passwords for each account in a breach, automation tools can then help us process these efficiently, reducing the likelihood of human error, which we all make mistakes for sure. Orchestration, on the other hand, focuses on coordinating automated tasks and systems to work together as part of a larger workflow. Orchestration ensures that different tools and processes communicate seamlessly, allowing these complex tasks like responding to a cybersecurity incident or deploying an application to be handled end to end. It's not only about automating individual steps, but integrating those steps in a cohesive strategy all together. All right. So, what are some of the tasks that we're going to talk about that can help us automate, and when do we orchestrate these tasks? So, when we decide to implement automation and orchestration, it is critical for us to improve efficiency, right? So, without compromising any of our effectiveness, we need to come up with some strategies that can be applied thoughtfully, ensuring that we can address specific challenges and add value to our operations, and not only add extra work to our everyday work life. And the first one I want to talk about would be tasks that are repetitive or time consuming. We want to automate these when they are routine and predictable and repetitive, such as generating security ports or updating software or even applying security patches. Automation will help reduce the risk of human error and frees up the team members for higher value tasks. Now, on the other hand, we've got orchestration. We may want to orchestrate when these automated tasks need to be coordinated across multiple systems. For example, we may want to orchestrate a workflow to automatically detect vulnerabilities, apply patches, and update associated logs in a unified process. The next one would be the scenarios that require speed and scalability. We want to automate things that are going to be processes like threat detection, or we want to reduce reaction time to potential incidents. For example, we want to set up automated alerts for unauthorized login attempts to ensure immediate awareness. Now, orchestration, on the other hand, we may want to respond to the incidents across a complex infrastructure, or ensuring that we are looking at all systems. From the systems like firewalls to all of our user access controls, we want to make sure that we can build a picture that's cohesive and seamless so we can contain the threat like a single pane of glass. There are going to be situations that demand consistency and compliance. We want to automate these tasks when they need to have consistent execution, such as enforcing password policies or conducting regular backups, or even generating compliance reports. Now, this ensures uniformity, which means we're going to meet regulatory standards. And remember, when we're talking about regulatory standards, it's all about compliance. Now, when we're talking about orchestration will help us ensure that we have all our automated compliance related activities part of our larger strategies. We want to make sure that we're coordinating the audits, maybe the data encryption processes, or even the compliance documentation itself. We want to make sure all of this is uniform and does not have any human error within it. Other tasks may include the manual processes. If we have a manual process going to increase risk, we may want to automate or orchestrate these. We want to automate the tasks that are prone to human error, such as configuring security settings, provisioning access, or even monitoring for anomalies. This will help minimize the likelihood of mistakes that could lead to the vulnerabilities within our systems, the weaknesses, right? So when do we want to orchestrate? Well, we want to orchestrate the workflows that require cross-team collaboration or even integration across multiple tools. This could be incident response or even data breach containments. And this will ensure that no steps are overlooked and that we're meeting everything we need to. And then one of the last ones I want to talk about would be resource constraints. What happens when we have to automate routine operations to reduce the burden on understaffed teams? This will allow personnel to focus on strategic initiatives. We may want to orchestrate when resources align across multiple departments. This way that we have our limited personnel and tools used as efficiently as possible to address any of the critical priorities within our systems. Now, what does this mean for some of the benefits? Where orchestration and automation provide a number of benefits for the cybersecurity IT operations teams, making it essential for us to use, right? For professionals preparing for the Security Plus, we need to understand that there's some advantages for automation and orchestration because they're going to directly align to the core exam objectives. For one, we're going to see increased efficiency. We're going to see better consistency and accuracy across all of our departments. We're going to have a better security posture. We are going to be scalable. We can now be able to expand as the company needs us to, as we are now able to do other activities and tasks. We're going to save the company money. And then we're going to enhance collaboration and integration. Because remember, all we're doing here is we're trying to streamline processes, strengthen security, and stay ahead of the threats that may be attacking us. For Security Plus, we need to make sure that we master these concepts so we can understand how to design a resilient and effective cybersecurity strategy. The next topic I'd like to talk about would be automating support tickets. Automating support tickets is definitely going to be a practical application no matter which department you work for or which company you work for. Support ticket automation will help streamline the process of incidents or have some responses or consistent workflows. And overall, we want to improve our user satisfaction. Now, how does this look? Well, the first thing that we would look at would be this ticket generation. We'll use our automated tools to monitor systems for errors or some unusual anomalous activity and automatically generate support tickets when an issue is detected. We want to also then take for classifications. We want to automate the system so that they can categorize the tickets based on predefined rules, such as the type, the urgency, or even the affected system. Once we have a ticket and it's been classified, we want to route it to the right team. We want to automate it so that way they can be assigned with the appropriate team or individual based on the issue's nature. And then finally, we would want to do some automated responses. Some issues like password resets or software updates can trigger automated responses or solutions without any human intervention. Why do we want to do this? Well, there's plenty of benefits for automating the support tickets. For one, we're going to see faster resolution times. Automated ticket generation and routing will minimize delays in addressing the critical issues. Will help reduce human error. We're going to automate these tickets so that no tickets are overlooked or miscategorized. And then we're going to have improved scalability, where the organizations themselves can handle increased ticket volumes without adding additional staff. All right, our next section is going to be talking about onboarding. Now, we want to automate the onboarding process inside of IT and Security Operations Center because what this is going to allow us to do is to streamline the integration of new employees. This will help us reduce administration overhead and maintain a secure and efficient environment from day one. Now, what we want to do here is we want to have some speed and efficiency. We want to have this as automated as possible because manual onboarding often will involve multiple teams and can take days or even weeks to complete. Automation will accelerate this process. We're going to ensure that the new employees are fully operational on their first day. This not only will improve productivity, but also reduce the burden on the IT staff. Human errors during onboarding, such as assigning incorrect permissions or forgetting essential configurations, can lead to security gaps. So, we want to automate and enforce consistent application of roles, permissions, and policies to ensure that no steps are overlooked. This will help us provide consistency and accuracy. We want to make sure our security has been enforced. So, by automating it, our security protocols into the workflow itself, such as maybe using MFA, multi factor authentication, maybe encrypting devices and ensuring that access is provisioned across the principle of least privilege, we can ensure that things are being enforced properly and without human error itself. We want to talk about scalability. Now, organizations that frequently onboard new employees or contractors, automation will ensure that the process scales effortlessly without compromising quality or security. Now, we want to make sure that there's a few pieces for this system. We want to make sure that they're integrated within the HR systems. Automation will begin with the HR systems because when HR records a new hire, the system will trigger an automated task to create an account and provision their resources. We want to make sure we're using role-based access control because role templates will define the resources and permissions that each employee type will require. Automation tools will assign the rights based on the templates, ensuring that the employees can only access what they need to perform their job functions, ensuring the least privilege model. We want to provision devices and software because this automation system will generate the requests for hardware, configure devices, like what software they need, and even apply security settings. This will ensure that all endpoints are compliant with company policies before being handed to the employee. And then finally, we can automate the workflow such as training and documentation. This will help onboarding materials such as compliance training, security awareness courses, or even access to internal knowledge bases. We want to make sure that all of this is completed automatically. Now, we can use this not only for onboarding, but we can automate some of our security processes. Now, we have a more complex system than we've ever had before. We have high volumes of alerts and limited resources, so we need to use automation to help us respond to incidents faster, improve threat detection, and maintain our consistent security measures. Now, we want to use things like threat detection and response. We want to automate, like for our SIM, our Security Information and Event Management System, or even maybe our Extended Detection and Response, or our EDRs, so we can analyze vast amount of data in real time, identifying patterns and indicate potential threats. We may want to automate vulnerability management so that way we can scan and find outdated software, misconfigurations, or even missing patches across our security infrastructure. We may want to use it for incident response. This will enable us to have predefined workflows for incident response, such as isolating compromised systems or gathering forensic data, so that way we can be more efficient on our response and isolate the threats. We may want to use it for access management, right? For those onboarding policies isn't just for the one thing we want to do, but provisioning or deprovisioning access based on roles, behaviors, or even lifecycle events. And then we may want to use it for policy compliance. So we may want to automate compliance tools so we can monitor the systems that they're meeting the security standards and regulatory requirements that we have set in our systems. Now, security is just one of the many things that we can check with automation, but we should automate also our application development. Now, we may want to automate application development because if you've ever heard the term DevSecOps, this is including security and operations into a streamlined workflow throughout the development process. Now, this is something that the SecurityPlus likes to question you on. And how would automation minimize vulnerabilities during the software development lifecycle? Well, for one, we're going to use it in code quality and security scanning. We're going to use automated tools to analyze for bugs and vulnerabilities and adherence to coding standards during development. For example, we may use static application security testing, SAST, tools to scan the source code to identify potential security issues before the application is built. This will help us have early detection of vulnerabilities, reducing the cost of risks associated with fixing issues in later stages. We may want to include it in our continuous integration and continuous development sections. CI/CD pipelines automate the building, testing, and deployment of applications, and this will help us have security checks integrated in every stage to ensure compliance with policies. For example, before deploying an application update, we should have automated tests that can verify the new code doesn't introduce any new vulnerabilities. This will help us speed up development life cycles while maintaining robust security standards. We may use containerization or infrastructure as code because as we automate the processes, we may want to configure, deploy, or even manage infrastructure of an application in different environments using code. Now, an example of this would be Docker containers and Kubernetes orchestration. Now, this deployment in a controlled and repeatable manner will help us make sure the security configurations are baked into the process itself. This will help us provide consistency across all our environments, reduce configuration errors, and simplify scalability. Lastly, we may look at automated compliance and reporting. Now, automation will help applications meet security standards and generate reports for compliance audits. Now, how does this work? For example, we may use tools like Jenkins or GitLab to generate these logs that will document security checks, providing evidence for regulatory compliance. This will help us save time and ensure that there's a traceable record of all security practices throughout the development lifecycle. Because in cybersecurity, the integration of automation and application development will help us minimize vulnerabilities and accelerate the response to any threats that come up. Automated processes may reduce the resilience on manual intervention or ensure consistency and scalability while maintaining high security standards. Now, we want to make sure that we understand as a SecurityPlus professional that automation and application development underscores the importance of integrating security in every stage of software creation. This principle is often referred to shifting security left. This concept helps organizations deliver secure applications without sacrificing speed or even innovation. Since we're talking about software, what about integration of APIs? So, for those who don't know, APIs are standardized interfaces that allow software applications to interact with each other. They define how requests for information or services are made, processed, and even delivered between the systems. For example, our SIEM, Security Information Event Management System, may use an API to collect logs from various sources like firewalls or servers or endpoints, consolidating that data for centralized monitoring and analysis. Now, what's the role of APIs in security? Well, for one, it's going to provide a seamless workflow automation. We're going to integrate across multiple security tools and unified workflows and eliminate the need for manual coordination. For example, when a suspicious login is detected by an identity management system, an integrated API can trigger an automated process to lock the account and notify the security team. We may use it in real-time threat intelligence sharing. APIs will help enable the flow of threat intelligence across systems, ensuring security tools stay up to date with the latest threat data. For example, a threat intelligence feed can help update firewalls and intrusion detection systems with new malicious IP addresses or domains in real time. Lastly, we may even use it for incident response coordination. Now, integration allows for multiple tools to work together during incident response. This will help us reduce response times and improve effectiveness. Okay. Now, for example, a malware alert may be triggered in an EDR, endpoint protection system, and maybe trigger an API to isolate the device, notify the SOC, and start forensic analysis. Now, why do we like to use APIs? Well, again, just like any other automation, we're going to enhance efficiency. We're going to automate integration and reduce the workflow on security teams so that way they can handle other repetitive tasks or other tasks more efficiently. So that way they're not handling the repetitive and time sensitive tasks that we use automation to do that. For instance, if we automate and provisioning or deprovisioning of user accounts during onboarding or offboarding, we want to make sure we automate these things. We could use scalability and flexibilities because APIs themselves are easy to integrate into new tools and platforms. This will ensure systems can scale and meet the growth of changing requirements. We want to have a stronger security posture. Having a unified system will help us reduce the risk of missed threats or gaps in coverage so that all tools can work cohesively to defend against threats. And then lastly, we're going to make sure we have consistent compliance. Integration with an API will help ensure we have a security processes to adhere to policies and regulations by automating compliance checks and generating detailed reports. So the integration of APIs is definitely going to be important, especially for Security Plus. Know that you need to understand how these tools will improve about operational efficiency and help organizations respond effectively to the threats as they directly align with the SYO 701 exam objectives. All right. I hope this was helpful. Thank you for tuning in to chapter 26 all about automation and orchestration. We'll pick this up on our last chapter of chapter 27. And if you're in classes as well, we'll start doing our Kahoot. So I'll see you in there, and good luck.